Stop! Sure you want the rest of it?
Dirty Harry Minute. Dirty Harry Minute. Dirty Harry Minute Podcast. Dirty Harry Minute Podcast.
Every penny's worth.
Welcome back to Dirty Harry Minute, a podcast where we review and analyse every minute of the 1971 Warner Brothers film Dirty Harry. I'm one of your hosts, Trent, and I'm joined with
John
and
Tim.
Today we are joined by guests Liz, who in the first one today was Fiona.
Sorry.
That's fine. I like both those names.
And then we've got Georgia.
Hello.
And then we've got Mitch.
Yes, I'm still here.
So this minute continues with gunfire and ends with a low-angle camera pan across a lightly blood-spattered pavement. So, where do we begin with this one?
We begin with an IMD intervention. Harry fires 6 rounds without reloading. In reality, the size of the .458 Winchester mag case is so large that it limits the magazine capacity to 2 to 3 rounds. With 1 round in the chamber, the maximum number of rounds he could have fired without reloading is 4.
So now we're Kevin Costner and JFK, are we? Is that what this has been reduced to?
Where did that come from? That's from IMDb. Is it?
IMDb, yeah. Have you had many Simpsons corrections from listeners or people?
Mostly they correct us. I accidentally referred to the Princess Bride as the Princess Diaries the other night. It was
Oh, Jesus.
late. I know.
Two very different pieces.
I know they're two very different
Okay.
pieces of film. I've only watched one of them, and it was the correct one to have watched.
I was going to say, was it the right one to have
Yeah.
watched?
Yeah, as I said to them, it was frankly inconceivable that I would make such a mistake. But
Is there a right one to have watched?
Bride, of course.
Depends what age
The
you are.
Bride.
You guys could see the look that he just threw.
Princess Bride fans are pretty rabid. Like, they're very
aren't
defensive.
they? Yeah.
I came to it really late in life.
Me too.
And when I did discover it, I was like, oh my God, now I finally get why Carrie Elwes got roles in things for quite a long time. Because up until then, I'd seen...
Men in Tights.
Well, not even that. I was thinking more Kiss the Girls, Morgan Freeman.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, who's this guy? And how did he get paid for anything?
I was thinking The Crush with Alicia Silverstone.
I was thinking
Yeah.
Hot Shots.
Hot Shots! Yeah, he was in that. That's right.
Hot Shots is understandable. Hot Shots has my favourite visual joke of all time. And it's when Charlie Sheen's walking along the beach and he says, it just seems that whatever I do, someone gets hurt. And as his girlfriend is trying to say, no, you're only being silly, he skips a stone along the beach, hits someone in a rowboat and knocks them out.
Classic Charlie Sheen.
You still like this minute, Tim?
Yeah,
Shootout still
it's good.
packs a wallop,
it's great.
even if it would be done
And we
differently
get to
today.
see, what's that guy's name? Linguini Man.
Oh yes, right at the end. I just love how you see Scorpio laughing maniacally as he's got them pinned down. He's
Immaculate dental hygiene.
Yeah, he's got good teeth. A little bit gappy, but, still.
do serial killers normally have good teeth?
I don't know. But we have 2 guests from Adelaide here, so maybe they'll be able to enlighten us on
Is
this.
that a pun on serial killers and teeth? A double pun?
Also some Adelaide shade, just through Adelaide major shade there.
Actually, speaking of being from Adelaide, how do you feel about the Jesus Save sign being shot up?
Is that City of Churches?
City of Churches,
reference?
yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking to our previous guest, Trav Nash, about how if it was remade in Adelaide, it wouldn't be a Jesus Save sign, it would be a Polites sign, you know.
Oh my goodness, it definitely would be.
And we determined, are they just the local construction, like they're the Grollos of South Australia?
There's one dude.
One dude.
Well, it's the Lebanese mafia, really, I think.
That's what I was thinking.
They own half of Adelaide, they own half of Sydney.
Because I thought it was just because Adelaideans are either serial killers or really nice people. I thought it was just a polite way of saying toilets. The Polites seeing all these signs.
No, I believe it's their family name.
Yeah.
It was a guy who was in construction, then real estate, and he purchased all these buildings. And he died, I think, about 15, 20 years ago. And there's been a lot of contention over his estate and the kids trying to fight over it and everything. Because when I was last in Adelaide, I was fascinated by all these signs.
Everywhere.
Like, a friend and I would play a game with Polites, and you'd have to spot the Polides sign. It's like, damn it, we've already seen that one. That's void.
Would it have been more distressing to you girls to see the blood on the pavement at the end of this, or just a bunch of spilled Farmers Union iced coffee?
Yes, classic chocolate milk.
Classic
chocolate milk
Yeah.
is what's the
That's
real
when
South Australian
Blood
drink
is
of
really
choice.
spilled.
Yeah.
Is over chocolate milk.
Sells more than Coca-Cola over there, I believe.
Really?
Apparently.
That's
Yeah.
It is delicious, but
Fantastic.
your obsession
I love
is a
that.
bit too...
Probably the second, highest selling product to weed.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
There was a short story years ago, and I can't remember what the short story, who the author was, but it was the Coca-Cola Kid, and got made into a film with Eric Roberts. And it's set...
Love Eric Roberts.
The film is set in the Blue Mountains, and Eric Roberts is this Coca-Cola executive sent from the US to find this one spot, which is in the Blue Mountains, where Coca-Cola doesn't sell, and some other cola outsells it. So he's sent as this efficiency expert to boost it. And I think, why didn't they set that in Adelaide rather than... Yeah.
I want to watch that movie now.
They brought a Czech director out here, and Greta Skarki's in it and stuff, and it's not the greatest film, but yeah.
Was the Calcium Kid a remake?
The Calcium Kid, that's with Orlando Bloom.
Yeah.
I don't know, sorry.
That looks like a very young Eric Roberts.
Eric
We've
Roberts.
just discovered the poster
Yeah,
for the
yeah, yeah.
Coca-Cola Kid.
That's
which
it.
is Eric Roberts. It's almost like George Costanza, actually, in that he's trying to sneak food and drink into the bedroom. So
What is that poster? Like, oh, it's very suggestive.
It's got a post-split end / pre-crowded house Neil Fun in one scene singing a song with his brother Tom.
the tagline here is a new formula for comedy. Now, would that have been 1985? Would have been around when New Coke was coming out.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's basically just an hour and a half commercial for Coke. Is that what that film was?
Well, there's a little disclaimer at the start saying Coca-Cola does not endorse this film.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it's set
But it's the
separately.
Coca-Cola red that fills the poster.
Yep, pretty much.
Subtle.
I like to take home some Eric Roberts
In a doggy bag. I don't know if anyone else wants some.
Now, there's a logistics little question that I have about this particular minute. So, Harry and Chico, after the shootout, after the neon sort of explodes around their feet, they're running down the stairwell. Harry pulls his gun out and looks suspiciously at the stairwell as if they might be in danger, despite the fact they're on a completely different building, at least binocular distance away.
Yeah, good point.
Is it that he hears the shot fired that kills the other police officer, and that's what stops them?
Is that what happens?
And, because there's that random shot fired, and the first time watching it, I had no idea why they stopped. Because they just stopped.
Yeah. But they still run up to that police officer. It's not like they come out and he's at their feet.
Yeah. Okay.
It just seemed like they've tried to add in a bit of there's some danger about them stairs. I meant to say their stairs. And I went more redneck than I meant to.
No, I think you're right, Mitch, because we're meant to believe that Scorpio's going to try and attack the priest, who is the church is even further away than Harry. So Harry's not in any danger, but maybe it's just an
excuse to get the Magnum out.
the big cannon.
Yeah, a bit of casual product placement. Coca-Cola, what?
Did Magnum support this film?
That's what I said.
Yeah.
I was like, there's got to be something
Because
there, doesn't there?
that is a selling line, like the most powerful handgun in the world.
And he says it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blow a man's head clean off.
Well, apparently they'd ceased production a few weeks. Oh, that's probably an apocryphal story, but they had stopped making them a few years beforehand, and Clint had to intercede to get them to send him a prototype, him and Milius, to use in the film.
Wow.
Smith & Wesson.
Is it true that the sales increased then a lot after
Yeah,
this film?
that's what Dr. Google says.
Yeah.
Every
Sounds
nut.
like a good old-fashioned comeback to me. Doesn't it?
So why did they cease production? Do you know? Was it poor selling at the time?
Super faulty. No.
They
You may as well have a rifle when you've got that much power.
well, they found ice cream was more profitable.
It was too hard to shoot up an entire office space with only 6 bullets. And that just...
Dark.
So,
Or a school,
yeah.
They didn't
Exactly.
want it to blow their head clean off. They wanted to make it really messy. So
Do you like Trent how Scorpio's just laughing, so unhinged?
I do.
It just looks so great.
I do. San Francisco dental work at its finest.
Have you seen? I've noticed a production still of Andy Robinson, Trent. You can have a look. He's standing on like a porch, like a very cheap sort of stoop and like maybe a southern, Georgian or Texan outhouse or something.
From this film.
Yeah, pre-production photo, maybe hinting at his past. But it never really figures, the backstory never figures in the rest of the movie, does it, Tim, apart from the novelisation? Where his name is Charles Davis, you said, a mental patient from Springfield, Massachusetts.
That's right.
And Andy Robinson said his backstory he created himself was that he was a Vietnam draftee that returned back home and went insane with PTSD. But I like how we know nothing about
Rambo
his
did the same thing, did it for good.
Yeah.
Didn't have to go killing priests.
Twisted powers for good.
Do you think there's a bit... Oh, I think it's probably obvious, but obviously he doesn't get to kill the priest, but he does get to shoot up the church sign. It's kind of the... And that's really when he gets that joyful laughter, maniacal, joyful laughter.
Yeah.
Is what
Look of satisfaction.
yeah.
A good point, yeah. Because after this scene, he doesn't go for the priest again, does he? He goes for the teenage Anne-Marie Deacon.
That's right. I've discovered that photo you're referring to.
Yeah.
And I think that is when he goes to the abandoned building.
Oh, to get beaten up?
To get beaten up. Because if you look at it, that's what he's wearing.
Yeah, the blue shirt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Scene there.
But that's a construction site with the...
Yeah.
That looks more like a... Doesn't it strike you like the Deep South? Like he's maybe some fly-by-night mental sanitarium in Savannah, Georgia or something?
Yeah and nay, but
I think that's how you'd like to think of it, Jonathan.
Yeah, exactly. Stop romanticising violence, buddy. But I think you'd find a building like that in a lot of older cities and things.
Mitch, I like how you say the Jesus Save sign. It's later in the film we'll have other iconography of religion, the Mount Davidson, the cross being the big one, and these big symbols of Christianity, but they mean jack bloop. They don't protect anyone. Just symbols, empty symbols.
Which is a fairly bold statement to make in a American blockbuster.
An all-American blockbuster of this time. Yeah.
What do you think, Tim, their end game was? Like, why it's just one cop with the rifle?
To end religion.
And endorse guns.
Don't you think they should have a cop like on Scorpio's building, like down the bottom to stop him? Well, I guess with Officer Collins. But why have they just got Harry and his sidekick with one gun, with one
I
antiquated
thought about that,
rifle?
but I think they addressed that in one of those boring office scenes when they said they had everyone on patrol and they volunteered to be on the rooftop.
Because they get so close to their prey Scorpio here, but they stuff it up.
So I'm just looking up the novelisation again.
So there was a novelisation of Dirty Harry?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then a series of spin-off novels and whatever, which you haven't read them, have you?
Not all yet, no. In the novelisation, his real name is Charles Davis. Like I said, he's a former mental patient from a sanitarium in Springfield, Massachusetts.
It's too bad it didn't become a Marvel comic. I could have brought it back.
The PTSD thing, I mean, it all makes sense. I mean, this film's 1971. The US had been in Vietnam since 64, 65, I think. And, I mean, that sort of thing was starting to emerge openly, that, yes, these guys were coming back and they'd been brutalised and picked randomly. And, the PTSD thing was becoming well known.
Oh, there would have been a movie. Say, if Robin Williams had reprised his role from Good Morning Vietnam as the psychopath, basically. So you get Adrian Cronauer on the roof. Good evening, Dirty Harry. And then just let's fly.
And then he can be, maybe that's him appearing in the Starship song, We Built This City on Rock and Roll. There's that radio bit, and it's about San Francisco in the middle. Welcome to the Bay Area, or whatever he's saying. It could be that bit.
Looking at all of that gorgeous sunny city.
By day. And then he's, being Scorpio at night. They never suspect the radio guy.
I never saw it coming.
Well, Robin Williams was very good at being funny and scary, I think.
Yeah, has anyone seen Popeye?
More scary.
Really, never the two at the same time, though. Yeah.
That's true.
He's not very funny in Insomnia.
No.
Just terrifying.
Yeah, not to make light of, Vietnam people returning, but Birdie, another great Vietnam film with Nicolas Cage and Matthew Modine. Oh, no one's seen it, so I'm just going to dodge it.
There's an Australian link there, isn't it? Richard Franklin or something?
No. Alan Parker directed it.
Oh, okay.
And Yeah.
Was it good?
That's a great film. Yeah, it's Nicolas Cage's first sort of breakout role.
Was it one of the best 63 movies that he released that
Yeah,
year?
yeah, that year, yeah. I think it was just before Peggy Sue got married, but yeah.
I suppose in 1971, I know there's a George Carlin bit about the origin of word post-traumatic stress. It was shell shock first.
Yep.
Relatively new diagnosis now, Trent, that particular name, post-traumatic stress.
Well, it was open. You know, that they were allowed to talk about
yeah.
more and more. It's still, I mean, it was still, taboo because these poor people have been victimized. They were harassed for going to the war when, a lot of them didn't really want to. So, yeah.
Do you like, in your mind, to just have a blank slate for Scorpio's background? Or?
I kind of like the idea that there is something. The idea of the blank slate also works because it makes it a little more creepy that you don't know this guy's origin or whatever. Where the fuck what hole did this guy crawl out of to be like this?
I almost always prefer that. I've been watching a lot of Luther recently, and
Luther's great.
Season 2, episode 3 is the guy that's basically like role playing murder and that sort of stuff. Like he'll sort of roll the dice, and then that dictates what his actions are. And he doesn't speak at any point in the duration of the episode.
Yeah,
so
right.
yeah, you have absolutely no clue where he's coming from. And in a show where it's all about someone, like the idea of Luther trying to get in the mind of these sorts of people, that when even he can't do it, then you as the audience, you're like, yeah, my God, what sort of evil could this possibly be? It's like so much more, incomprehensible, which I always find scarier than the explanation.
Pure evil. I shot him 6 times. Sorry, my Donald
You don't know the meaning of evil.
Of course, yeah.
We're all going to die. Sorry. It's my only Donald Pleasance impression.
Yeah, I like the idea that not knowing anything, just having a motiveless psycho. It's quite...
Well, that's the most terrifying kind.
Do you think when he's firing the machine gun, he's turning Japanese a little bit, and when he's firing, it's a bit of an orgasmic shot. He's like, ooh.
Quite gone there, but well, maybe.
Very overjoyed.
I think we're turning him very slowly. He's doing all sorts of bad stuff.
Glory holes.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question, Liz, as the trained actor,
Indeed.
actress? So firstly, politically speaking, actor, actress, is there still like a
Apparently, actress is not the done thing anymore. We're all actors.
But what do you want?
I think actor is fine.
Okay.
Although either, I don't mind, but actor's good.
Do you think it's backstory?
I think it's probably important for the actor. I don't think... I mean, I guess it's circumstantial, but I think that it might be a little bit unwise to go in with nothing because you probably not have very much depth then. But I don't think that it's necessary at all for the audience to know everything about you. It's what we're saying. It's really quite cool and lets every last person who watches their imaginations run wild and they can choose. I don't think that's necessary at all, but I think it's a good idea for you. Yes.
Who have you found yourself... Have you ever played a psychopath or someone with...
Yes.
And who did you channel, or is that... private?
Who did I channel?
I thought I was Molly Meldrum.
It's a scary thought. I suppose that you maybe try and go to if there's any dark corners of your own psyche, I think, which probably isn't a good idea. I think that's, the road that Heath Ledger might have gone down or,
Is that Stanislavski? To get old drama school? Is that kind of tap into your own...
Yeah, and I actually think that's a supremely bad idea.
I think you should just channel a kid. Sometimes kids are their idea of like right and wrong, they're just
Pure
sociopath. Evil, yeah. Just imagine yourself with a kid with a magnifying glass and
Can I tell a quick story about how being on stage and what you're thinking is so far away from the audience? We were talking off air about a play I did called The Shape of Things. And there's a scene in that where it's like an 8-minute monologue while my character is just sitting side stage reacting to the monologue. So it's where his entire world comes crashing down. So it was a pretty intense thing to act silently without giving too much away, without being too big. There was one night where earlier that day, Hawthorn had just been eliminated from the AFL finals by Fremantle. And I'd watched it only 2 hours prior to going on stage. So I spent that 8 minutes sitting there, not even listening to what the words were anymore. And I was just replaying that game in my head from start to finish.
Fantastic technique, though. I think that people study for years and years and pay a ridiculous amount of money to learn what you came up with on your own. I think that's a fantastic technique. You don't have to go lose yourself completely. You can just do something like that, whatever is convincing and gets you there. I once learnt that if you get shot, probably this is more probably specific to a play, but if you're to get shot, maybe you think of it like reacting as if you were jumping into a cold shower.
Yeah,
it's probably similar body language and reaction and all the rest of it. So yeah, that's fantastic technique.
Yeah.
Andy Robinson, when he read the original Fink script, said he couldn't get a sense of the character before it was rewritten by Milius, and he said in his mind he's just thought the killer was like a fat guy with a paunch hanging around a bus station. That's how he played him until the next script.
Wonderful. All right, well, I think that wraps up minute 40. We'll see you all next time for minute 41.
Indeed.
I just realised, funnily enough, who'd have thunk? And yes, well, thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you next time on
Dirty Harry Minute.